Oh, she's back.
Tyvis, you're back this week. I want some training camp stories from you, but we have Aditi in a new location, maybe not by the snacks, but we do have Aditi.
Aditi.
I didn't get to eat any of the snacks, guys. My stomach is growling.
Hey, listen, I'm hungry too. Don't tell me. Don't tell my stomach that.
Don't need that.
We want to get right off into it, man. First of all, you're at training camp. Are you excited for your first preseason game on Friday? How does it feel? What are you feeling like?
I'm getting as many stories as I possibly can, and I'm really, really, really pumped. I'm also a little anxious. I'm anxious for a number of reasons. I'm anxious that I'll actually get there because air travel has been such a nightmare and I have to fly a connection to Jacksonville. And I'm also anxious that I have the stories that keep our viewers engaged.
You've been getting these stories, and obviously you're probably, I know you want to save them for the game, as is your right. In case anybody doesn't know, Aditi is going to be doing, or she's actually doing the preseason games, which is huge, and we're very proud of you and we're excited for you. But you probably got some lousy stories too that you have no intention of using on the these kind of boring ones about air travel. Or something. Can we have one of the lousy stories that you're not saving for that game?
Let me see. I just talked to Chase Winovich. I don't think that he really gave me. Oh, you know what? I got into this huge conversation with Dimitri Felton about Star Wars and who his favorite character is. Yeah, he loves Star Wars.
Favorite character?
And yeah, go ahead, guess.
I have no clue who Dimitri Felton's favorite Star Wars character is.
Okay, so Dimitri Felton, really quickly, right? He is both a wide receiver and a running back.
Right.
He started.
No, this is the answer we all needed.
I know.
to play wide.
She's coming back.
Basically, last year went from room to room. Wide receiver room. He will take some running back reps today, even though he's played just slot receiver all training camp so far. And his favorite Star Wars character is Darth Vader.
Darth Vader. He's very deep and complicated. And if you think about it, Darth Vader has a dichotomy between good and evil that he deals with in the same way that Dimitri Felton must, playing multiple positions.
And he has to. That's so good, Mike. And it's that story arc of he's Anakin Skywalker and he's good, and then all of a sudden something changes and where he turns to, and so we didn't get that deep into it, and I don't know that that's going to make the cut of my sideline broadcast, so you can have it.
No,
maybe it does.
If you want to use that take, I'd be really honored if we could kind of combo on that, and you don't even have to credit it or anything. I'd love to see it on TV.
I don't have to credit you?
No,
Okay,
I'd love not at all. That's yours. That's totally yours.
Sweet.
Sticking with the Star Wars theme, you know how Yoda says stuff but never really even says anything? You're like, hold on, what did that really mean? Kevin Stefanski has a good way of doing that. Have you now kind of digested or kind of broken the code of what Kevin Stefanski means? And do you think Deshaun Watson will play at all on Friday?
I do, actually. I think that we will see. Now, I don't know for certain, but my gut says that we will see a fair amount of Deshaun Watson because, let's be honest, he hasn't had any football action in, 19 months? Yeah. So regardless of how all of this plays out, there is, and by all of this, I mean, whatever, we know that the NFL has appealed Sue Robinson's initial suspension of 6 games. We know that Peter Harvey has taken all of this under sort of consideration now at this point. Peter Harvey will eventually come out with something. He is Commissioner Roger Goodell's designee. Then, of course, the NFLPA could potentially go and appeal in federal court, and then we'll see what happens there. But up until now, Kevin Stefanski has been giving the majority of first-team reps to Deshaun Watson. That is because he is trying to get Deshaun Watson football and game ready. Part of that is getting him some actual game action. There are only 3 preseason games. Deshaun Watson, my expectation is, will play and will likely play more than just one series. So we will see him in some capacity. And as this whole process is ongoing, I don't know that Kevin Stefanski has another choice other than to try to get him ready.
Aditi, the first unofficial depth chart came out, and I have some concerns about it. I don't know how much I should read into it, but I've been hearing A.J. Green's name ranting and raving all through the streets of Cleveland, and he is like third on the depth chart. Will we see a lot of him? And with Denzel being out, how is that rotation going to be, if you can tell us?
Okay, of course we will see him, and I'm laughing because I literally spent 10 minutes on the radio in Pittsburgh yesterday over the same exact thing, because they are all up in arms that Devin Bush and Robert Spillane are being named the first-team linebackers on this first depth chart. A preseason depth chart is put together for no other reason than the head coach is asked to do it. It's not like this is what we would expect week 1 of the season. They're putting names out there, and that's it. And I wouldn't really be significantly concerned. It's not how the game is actually going to play out. Just to your point, I don't think we're going to see Denzel Ward. Mike Woods is a young receiver who I believe is going to make this team, but we're not going to see much of him either. David Bell has gotten back on the field, but just because of wherever it is that he's listed, it doesn't indicate necessarily how many snaps he's going to get at receiver. So I wouldn't be overly concerned by what the depth chart says right now. And it's funny because I was just joking about Chase. I tried to get at him if we do see defensive coordinator Joe Woods put together a NASCAR package with 3 or 4 defensive ends. Who's the guy that's playing inside? And Chase is like, well, you'll have to wait and see. So it's not like the depth chart is really giving anything away to any of us right now. Anyhow.
How did they get Kareem Hunt back on board in like 2.5 seconds? Like he came out, he was a little upset about that contract, and then he was just running after practice, really working hard. Like, yep, nothing happened here, nothing here to see. What happened in 48 hours?
Isn't that great? And again, I'll bring up Pittsburgh because it was a conversation yesterday. Deontay Johnson pulled one of these hold-ins for several weeks where he did all individual drills and wouldn't do the team drills until he got his new deal. Meanwhile, Kareem Hunt's lasts exactly 2 days. And I don't, guys, I have no idea. I don't know if AB said to him, Kareem, stop this. It's not going to work. I don't know if Kareem was like, okay, this is really boring. I don't want to do this. I don't know what the genesis of that was. I just think that this is one of those situations where I appreciate and respect the fact that Kareem wants to create whatever leverage he can, that he wants to capitalize this very small window in which he can make sort of peak earnings, where he can make the most amount of money that he can. But nothing ever happens in a vacuum. And so it's not that does he owe the Browns because they took a chance on him when nobody else would, when his hometown team said, okay, come, we'll make a home for you? You could say that, but it's not like Kareem Hunt wasn't here working really hard for the Browns too. You could argue that, yes, the Browns took a chance on him, and yes, he has repaid them with his play and his effort and who he has been. How much money can the Browns devote to the running back room?
Right.
And that's where I say nothing happens in a vacuum. I think that if Nick Chubb wasn't being paid what Nick Chubb is being paid, then maybe Kareem Hunt could get more money. But no one team can put that much money in this one position of running back. And Jerome Ford, the young rookie, has been catching the ball really well. And Dearness Johnson is, I'd argue, the best number 3 running back in the NFL. So I'm not saying those guys together are Kareem Hunt, but the Browns will be okay if they don't have Kareem Hunt, and that doesn't really go in his favor either.
I'm glad you brought that up. So it's the name that's floating around as of today, Roquan Smith, the linebacker.
Yeah.
Can you see them making the trade Kareem Hunt for Roquan Smith?
Oh, did you just put that out there?
Yeah.
Is that an idea?
You like
Stop
that?
stealing
You like
nuggets.
that, didn't you?
I do kind of like that idea. That makes me actually think I should text some of my friends in Chicago. Hey, what do you think? Because they don't have any star power at running back in Chicago.
Yeah.
At all.
High commodity. He can get the deal that he thinks he deserves. We can upgrade the linebacker
I will say this, though.
position.
I think the Browns like their linebackers. I think the Browns really like their defense. And when you hear this defense say that its goal is to be the number 1 defense, it doesn't feel crazy. A year ago, their goal was to be top 5, and they were top 5. And it was a little sneaky that this was a top 5 defense, but you think about all these guys being back together year 2 and the complexities that they're able to add because they've been together and they've played all this time together. I don't know that that's a glaring hole. I don't know that you go and chase someone who obviously wants a new deal and commit a lot of money when, I mean, who are you unhappy with? Why do you want to make that move? Or is it just to add as many great players as you can?
Oh, yeah.
I'm a defensive player, so I'm always going to look to upgrade.
Add more defensive players.
Yeah.
But don't you kind of want to see what these linebackers give you?
Yeah, we did. We already seen that. Listen, I compared this
If you
team.
want, I'll go in that building and I'll go tell AB that this is what you feel.
You tell
And I'm happy
you go in there and you tell AB that if you're looking for some safety help and you need a guy who's a vet at the position, you know a guy that's at the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show that, you know what, don't even have to teach me the playbook because I still know it like the back of my hand. So, you just need a guy to come in. I'm in good shape, ready to go.
You cold call anybody, wouldn't you?
The confidence.
I'm just saying. I know the playbook like the back of my hand. I can really go in there and play right now.
Because we were just saying how you needed more jobs.
Yeah. Tell me he has to move on this fast.
Aditi, how do you think the Browns handled the Kareem Hunt situation? They pretty much shot that down cold, didn't they? And do you think that was effective?
Wait. What was happening? It was tell me, and then you froze on me.
That's okay.
I don't know what's going on with the VMix, Mikey.
That's okay. Aditi, I was just asking, how do you think the Browns handled that Kareem Hunt situation?
I don't know. I mean, I think AB just told him this isn't going to work. This isn't going to get you anywhere.
Right. They pretty much shot it down cold, though. I like do you like how they didn't humor him at all and didn't try and do anything about it?
I think that goes both ways, right? If you're an old school, if you're running the team, then you're happy that that's how it went. If you're seeing it from the player side, you hope that there's a little bit of respect for the business end of it and that there is very little leverage. And so what can you do? I don't know. I don't really, this is way above my pay grade, quite frankly. Right. I don't know how I would play that. On the one hand, I sit here and I say, you signed a contract, and whether you like the contract or not, this is your contract, and you are required to fulfill the end of your contract. On the other hand, I would say, the market is constantly changing, and I understand trying to maximize whatever earning potential you possibly can. But again, I think a lot about fit and happiness, and it's not always about money.
Right.
Sometimes being in the right place where you enjoy coming to work every day, where you're utilized in a valuable way that may in some ways extend your career, where you are featured, where you are respected, and where you feel your team has potential, all of those things are worth more than potentially getting more money in Houston.
Didi, give me. See, I'm going to do this every time you come on. I want somebody we should be spot shadowing on offense that you've seen in training camp. You say, you know what? He might have a pretty big day, or he might have a nice play or two in Jacksonville. Can you give me an offensive player and a defensive player that you're watching, or the audience should watch that you've seen from camp?
Can I give a special teams player? Can I say Cade York?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, you can say that.
Say Cade York as many times as you want.
Yeah, just because I feel like that is such an underrated position. And if anybody should appreciate having not only competency, but... Okay, so you know what's really funny about this? Not only competency, but someone who can excel and who has moxie, then you should appreciate the kicker. I'm excited to see Cade York do it in a game. I just talked to Cade about this, and he said that he was yelling at everybody to put him down, that he thinks he actually missed this field goal. And he was like, guys, stop making such a big deal out of it. I don't know the truth because I wasn't really there to see it, but I appreciate the honesty. I do appreciate the honesty there. And yeah, he's been really, really, really good, really money. He's gone down to First Energy Stadium to get a sense of the winds there. Obviously, you won't really see that until the weather gets colder and how all of that changes. But He's not afraid of anything. I really
I'm trying
like
to
him.
think, Aditi, do you remember how many times this team franchised their kicker, Phil Dawson? That's how important a kicker is to Cleveland.
Phil.
I don't know. I mean, I think this could be a kid that you have to pay after 3 years, just like
For
the Bengals
real?
will probably have to pay Evan McPherson after 3 years.
Oh, we
I
about to
mean,
win
you
it
have
all,
look at how much of a difference Justin Tucker has made to the Ravens.
Yeah.
I was actually just talking about this with Cade York. Like, if you look at the signage outside the Ravens building, you have Lamar Jackson and you also have Justin Tucker. You know, and you think about the Bengals a year ago, Evan McPherson went 14 for 14 in the playoffs. He kicked the Bengals into the AFC title game when they were in Tennessee, and then he kicked the Bengals into the Super Bowl when they were in Kansas City. I mean, how can you say that that's not a valuable position?
Totally.
Kickers matter.
Yep.
They do.
Get that hashtag going.
They are
Get
people.
that hashtag going.
Put it in the front yard.
Hey, if punters are people, then kickers matter. Why not?
Well, Didi, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you. I'll tell you what, V-Mix screwed up there a little bit. We'll take responsibility for that, but you brought it home as always.
Well, thank you. And I will see you guys Friday from Jacksonville, where I believe I will hopefully be joined by the fabulous Chris Rose, part of
That's
my
awesome.
There you go.
booth. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we look
So we'll
forward
have
to
some
it.
fun then.
We know
Have
you're
fun.
busy,
All right,
Didi.
guys.
Thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate it.
Take care. Thanks for having me. And hey, tell Tyvis I'm going to go talk to AB.
Appreciate you.
Go Browns.
I'll give you a percentage.
Bye.
That's tampering.